I'd been in a job that I wasn't particularly happy in. So at that point in my life, I was looking at alternative options, and I approached locum agencies to look into whether or not locuming would be suitable for me. They then suggested that perhaps I spoke to companion care, and in all honesty at that point I just said no way, because that was probably at that point the last thing that I thought I wanted to do. I had looked at other options in my area local to me. I'm very settled with where we live from a family point of view, so obviously that limits the options that you have, and I did know a number of the practices locally, the independent practices. When I spoke to the agency at that point, after I'd sort of warmed to the idea of perhaps speaking to companion care, they described companion care as a cooperative rather than a corporate, a bit more of a you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and I thought actually I do want to speak to them, because the more I'd spoken to independent practices, that was putting me off that road. And I thought I had nothing to lose and everything to gain to at least know what all my options were to set that meeting up. And when I did meet Jane and Ian Monteith, I was really pleased that I'd met them, and I think, to be honest, that initial meeting and the impression that they made on me clinched that for me. Following that meeting, during that meeting, Jane and Ian suggested to me that I could talk to anyone I liked within companion care if that was going to help me to decide what to do, and that's exactly what I did. I came home and I literally just randomly chose 6 or 7 different existing practices and rang them for a chat, of which that again helped me to decide that this was the right thing for me, speaking to other vets that had been in the shoes that I was now in. And from then, that I was becoming more definite in what I wanted to do, and at that point I came along to the joint venture discovery day set up at the support office, whereby I got to meet all the support staff, the HR department, the accounts department, marketing, etc. I was really impressed when I met the support staff at the support office, because it was very clear to me that they all were experienced and really experienced in their individual fields, but actually together, united, that they all really pulled together to keep, and that they were going to support me and provide the backup that I would need to run my own practice. Well, naturally I had concerns. The last thing I ever imagined myself doing was to end up being a vet in a pet shop. But actually the reality of it is so different. We are in an environment, we are independent of the pet store, but actually we are also a little bit part of the bigger team, and that's quite nice, especially when you're starting out and your team's quite small. And also, people come through the door at a rate of knots here, and we see people pass the desk, they ask us questions, and then they potentially register. And I think actually you end up building a client base probably far quicker than you would if you were a standalone surgery. One of my main concerns before joining companion care was the level of the fee that I would need to be paying. But 10 months down the line, I so realise now that I just could not be where I am today in this surgery doing what I do without them, and I feel completely settled with that fee and feel that they deserve it. I think people really love the convenience of the fact that it's a one-stop shop. They can pull up, they can buy whatever they want for their pets, they can come and see us that if they need to. There's plenty of parking and we're open 7 days a week. But actually, once they come through the door, the most important thing to me is the service that I and my team provide for them. And I hope that they go away not just thinking, oh, well, it's convenient, that's where I want to go, but actually that they go away feeling that they really have been looked after by us and that they've been offered a tip-top service, which again, now being a partner, I'm finally in that position where I can call the shots, I can set the standards of care that I want to provide. I think it's definitely worth making that first step and chatting to companion care. I think you should also chat to as many other people that you can, partners and employees that you know might work within this setting or in other settings. In fact, I think it was important for me to investigate the options of independent partnerships as well, actually for me to rule those options out. I also sought independent financial and legal advice just to be sure that I wasn't signing my life away. And actually for me, I also managed to provide some locum cover at 2 or 3 of the companion care surgeries prior to becoming a partner, and that was absolutely great because I got to see different practices too. It's a very strange experience going from an employee to an employer overnight, and suddenly you do see things differently and think of things differently, and suddenly where you may not have realised it before, actually you do worry about the business a lot. Our lows probably are when we're quiet and possibly a bit bored, but obviously there's lots of things to always be doing. And the highs are just being, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm so happy here. I'm here doing things how I feel they should be done with a nurse partner and a team that I really truly feel support me and back me, and I support them and back them 100%.